This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021, episode 314. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Look at this. We're back. Another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We cover and bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Gab at Nick. You can check out my website, my political rantings at atnshow.com. You can also check out my IT blog at dudeinit.com. And of course, our website, the illustrious infectionpodcast.com. Looking slick, rocking the jacket. His camera might be a little bit too low, but I mean, it will make it work. Brian with the what is that? Is that a North Face you're wearing there, Brian? Or Columbia?
It's like Avalanche or something.
Oh,
it was a gift.
It's like a ski jacket, a bit of a snow jacket with an eye Aldridge.
Keeps you warm in the cold weather here, I guess.
Is it cold there?
Even though it's baking hot in this computer room. We'll see if I regret this.
You're running an AMD FX something.
I have an AMD FX series, so this was a bad mistake. I should probably not have done this. But yeah, if you want to find me now, hopefully soon at Brian Aldridge on Parler. I keep seeing hints that maybe it will be coming back up, supposedly. So we will see. But until then, if you go to biteoftech.com, you can go on there and there will be links to whatever social medias end up existing here in a couple weeks.
Now, why aren't you on Gab? You have the username.
Oh, I do have a Gab as well. I have at Brian Aldridge on Parler and on Gab. So you can find me on either one of those. I did because I went and looked at Parler today just to see if it was up, and they're doing hints of it coming back up. So we will see. But if you go to biteoftech.com, I'll have links to all those things. You can go check them out. Also, infectionpodcast.com. If you go there, look on the right-hand side and join our server on Discord. And that way you can submit. There's the news channel. If you want to submit news topics, maybe a game that you think we should cover, a topic that happens during the week that you think we need to cover, just jump in that channel, drop a link to it, and then we review that before each and every show. Also, we have our Steam group. If you happen to be sitting at your computer here a little bit ago, you would have gotten a notification reminding you that we are starting our live show, and that's something that you can do. And it's all you have to do is be logged into Steam, and we only do about one notification a week. If you want to see the pre and post show, you can do that through the Podcast Extras channel that Jed runs for us. And then we have our audio only form. So lower right-hand side, whatever platform you want to use, mobile devices, web-based apps, there's all kind of things. Even if you want to listen to it on your TV, for instance, those are all through those links at the lower right. And then if you want to follow along with the show notes, you can do that. Just click on the particular episode that you're going to be listening to or watching. And we have patch notes, videos, all kinds of links that we refer to throughout the show that we use while we're recording. So if you want to follow along, maybe you're listening and you want to see the videos, you can just click on that video and watch it while you're listening to the podcast. And we do have players in there that makes it really easy. If you want to support us, you can go to the support option at the top, or you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can type amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, or you can give your Prime Gaming subs here in Twitch. And we'll see. And we've been discussing other ways to do this as well. We'll see how that ends up rolling out in the future.
Yeah, one of our longtime, I call him a friend, Brian. He's a viewer, but one of our longtime friends. He's been with us since I can only assume day one. Like, I mean, he's never not been around. Our friend Falcon posted in our Discord this morning and said, "Hey, do you guys have another alternative besides Twitch? Because Twitch Prime, because I believe he's canceled his Prime subscription, like a lot of people have. So we're looking at some alternatives with maybe a service like Subscribestar or through Stream Elements, or maybe even some sort of Patreon thing. You can do like small levels on Patreon, like $2 or $5, but they're also susceptible. So we're working on a couple of things.
We're gonna do some research and kind of see what works out.
Yeah. This dude just farted says, I like that the fact that your channel is still here after last week. Yeah, that's a bit surprising. And I will say, if you go to infectionpodcast.com/live, right now it's redirecting to Twitch, but in the case of the banned from Twitch, which I don't think will happen, but it might. If that is the case, we'll just redirect that to either DLive or Trovo.live has been one that's popping up. There's a couple of other websites, Odyssey Live, BitChute I know is working on a live element as well. So there are some other alternatives for the show as well. Very soon, Brian, we may be in the realm of most banned show on the internet, depending on how things may unfold.
Maybe not Alex even a Jones political show. Borrow that like band.video or whatever.
I'm saying it's like we're not even a political show, and fortunately we haven't had anything happen yet. But just
imagine if we talked about politics as much as like Kotaku did. I mean, just
I know. I mean,
instantly.
Yeah, absolutely, as we should be, because we'd be terrible, awful people for trying to have those conversations. So, let's see. Played a little bit of Cyberpunk this past week. Not a lot. Maybe a couple hours. Just going through that. Kind of I plateaued a little bit. I know, Brian, this is a huge shock to you based on my Red Dead Redemption experiences. I plateaued a little bit in Cyberpunk. Not for any particular reason. I'm kind of back into my I'm into old habits, Brian. Not smoking cigarettes or doing cocaine, but not playing video games. I'm back into my old swing. No, not yet. Those will be following. But I tell you what, I just have no interest in playing anything. I went through that probably about a year or so ago. I don't know if it's a seasonal thing. I don't know if it's just a attention span thing. I still need to play the new Doom. I have it installed. I played a little bit of Cyberpunk and maybe a couple rounds of Call of Duty this weekend. And that's it. And I just haven't had much of a drive or a push to play anything. So that's all I've got from.
I've been playing. So my wife is really good at the sniper. Those sniper games. Sniper Elite 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's very competitive in that. And she's in like the top leaderboards for it. And she kind of showed me how to. I mean, I've played it a little bit, but she's been teaching me how to play it better than I have. So I played quite a bit of that with her because she knows a lot of people on Xbox that play that. And then I played a little bit of Fortnite just to rub it into one of her boys' faces because he's grounded and he can't wait to play Fortnite. And so I went and played and won one of my third game in first place, and I was said to rub that in his face, and I had to get then the whatever skins.
How old are you?
41 now.
So just for the record, you rubbed a Fortnite win into your stepson's face as a
11-year-old stepson's face. Yes,
how does that make?
Just let him know. How does that makes me feel better? Makes me feel better.
So you're still asserting dominance. You're like a new animal in a house. Like you're pissing all over everything to indicate like this is mine.
Yeah, I gotta say. Well, this is the thing is he really wants. He's been grounded for like a couple weeks from being able to play, and so he's been just dying. He sees these skins for Mandalorian, and he loves Batman. So there's. I mean, all these ones that are on there that he really wants and he can't get them. And he got all these V-Bucks for Christmas and he can't spend them yet. So I had to go in and get all the skins that he really wanted so I can run around and say, hey, look what I got. And we'll see how that goes.
I'm never going to visit Brian. That is just cemented. It hasn't happened yet. I was really thinking about it. I don't want anything to do with Brian after what I just heard. That's the most despicable thing I think we've ever heard on this program.
I'll tell you in the post show another thing that we prepared that's a secret, but I got to make sure it'll be fun.
So that now you're playing that on the Xbox.
I played that one on the Xbox. Yeah.
Okay.
And so everything seems to be working well. Just kind of getting used to the new map and everything. They definitely have done a decent number of changes, but I don't know. The game just doesn't seem that hard compared to some of the other ones that we play.
Now let me ask you this, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. I know this is the Fortnite podcast. How do you handle, because I imagine you're not the only one in this situation, how do you handle multiple users playing on the same system? Do you log in and out of Epic accounts, or does everybody just play on the same account? How does that work? Or how do you handle that?
So what you do is you just create multiple logins, kind of like you do on a PlayStation, multiple
Xbox profiles? So you all have
multiple Xbox profiles, yeah. And then rather than doing a change profile inside, so that way someone logs into their profile and it doesn't mess with anyone else's.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we can put passwords and things so that the brothers aren't messing with the other brothers' profiles, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because they will.
That's how the separation works. I guess I was trying to think.
And we've got the two screens side by side. So that's one thing, because we want to be able to play certain games together. But for instance, the sniper game she plays doesn't have split screen. I don't like playing something like Fortnite or Apex Legends or anything like that in split screen, because you're taking away so much of the visible range. Yeah, it really puts you to a disadvantage. So we have two big screens side by side that we play on that work out really well.
Yeah, big what is us is the
and we tried to. We got stuck on the opposite. So in the sniper game, we got stuck on the opposite. And so I was being good, you know how I am. I wasn't looking at her screen, and I know she was staring at my screen.
I had some friends over this weekend. We played a 4-player Mario Kart 64, and there was some screen, not necessarily screen watching, but there was some antagonizing and some screen tomfoolery going on with that over this weekend. The good old days of putting a. I remember I did it once with my cousins. They had a huge one of those. What was it? It was before plasma. It was those huge projection TVs. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the rear projections?
Yes, yeah, those. They were massive. So my aunt and uncle had one. And I remember the DLP. Yeah, there you go. And I remember my younger cousin and my older cousin, I'd go over there and we'd play Halo 3 split screen. I remember at one point we had like duct tape, like cardboard boxes, and like somebody was sitting like under the cardboard box under a blanket so they could only see the screen.
Trying to split it.
Yeah, trying to split it up so that we couldn't cheat off of each other and playing like Halo split screen.
Hey, there's a game. I don't remember if we've ever talked about it on here, but there's a game where you can go and it's made to look at the other players, because I don't think you can really see. You can't see the other player on your screen. You have to look at the other player's screens to be able to tell where they are. And it's a game based on that.
It's like a party game?
It's a really crazy game. Yeah, it's a party game. And so you can't see them on your screen, but you have to look at their screen to be able to figure out where they're at and then try to hit them.
Interesting. I did.
Yeah, I've not played it, but I saw a video where people are playing it, and it seemed pretty interesting.
So I guess, I think I played more. I played more console games than I think anything else this past week, and that console would be the N64. But it was a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it on the gaming front. Not a crazy busy news week. A couple of things, but nothing too crazy. I did see talking about Cyberpunk that the game is now the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game are now $30. At least they were at Best Buy a little while ago. I'm not sure if that's still the case. I'm gonna look it up real quick, but I did see this morning that the game had already dropped to $30 at Best Buy. Yes, it is. They are $34.99 respectively for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. I don't know if this is because they're disked version. These are physical copies. I don't know if that's the reason. It does include the next gen upgrade, but they are obviously trying to get rid of physical editions of this game. I'm trying to see if it'll let me buy. Yeah, I mean, I could pick this up tomorrow. So they've got it in stock at my Best Buy, and it's got that next gen there. So if you've held off, and maybe if you've held off on the Xbox or PlayStation version of the game, but plan on getting a next gen console, you might want to go buy this. Yeah. If it includes the next, and do some research on what that next gen upgrade means.
It did say the series and the one, so it should be for the new generation.
You're right. It absolutely should be. So do a little bit of research. Don't take my word for it. But if you've been holding off on Cyberpunk to play it on a next generation console, you might want to go take advantage of this deal, because a game has. I mean, it's pretty astonishing to see it this cheap already, Brian. This is not. Yeah. This is not normal.
Yeah, because I mean, I play in the Xbox One X and have had minimal issues, especially, the last couple times I've played it. It's not been crashing out. You get a weird little things of them just not cleaning up and doing little tweaks of making sure everything's touching the ground, or making sure that in animations that an object is actually in the person's hand. But other than that, it hasn't been bad. So especially if you're willing to wait, if you're going to wait 6 months and play it, a lot of these things will be patched out by then.
Yeah.
And it'll be a fairly complete, it's not going to be a GTA 6. I don't think the AI is not there. It's a very different game, but I personally find it very playable. So I don't, of course, I'm not playing on the very base level of the Xboxes for this. So maybe they have a way worse experience, according to what I've heard claims of. But so far, if you have an Xbox One X, I would encourage you to at least start trying to play it, because I don't think you're going to run into game-breaking issues that make you not want to play anymore.
Yeah. And then again, with these, even if you're looking to upgrade in the future, you're looking at 50% off the price of the game. So pretty good deal, because the digital copy is still $60. This has to do explicitly with the boxed physical copies that retailers are obviously trying to get off their shelves. So something to keep an eye on with Cyberpunk going forward on that. And I know we've got some Cyberpunk news that we can talk about later, but you did mention GTA, Brian, and
yes,
obviously GTA is obviously it's one of the next generation games. We don't have any details on it whatsoever. We don't know what it will be called. We assume it'll be called GTA 6, but who knows? It might be called. It might be called GTA something else.
Next. They could come up. They could come up with anything.
Yeah,
if they want to kind of keep
Vice
it fresh.
City and all this other stuff. There could be another name for it.
Supposedly, there's a female protagonist on this. Not that I've that's been their hints. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of changes they make.
But an interesting thing this past week was a new patent that has been filed by Take-Two Interactive that they've entitled System and Method for Virtual Navigation in a Game Environment. So they are I can never pronounce this word. Patenting patenting? Yes.
You can say patenting.
Patenting a new version or some sort of variant version of essentially a movement system, virtual navigation in a gaming environment. Mm-hmm. We don't know exactly what that would look like. It talks about, programming nodes and things like that. So it's nothing that's too crazy, but they're definitely working on next generation things. That's obvious because they're filing for new intellectual property, and that's kind of where we stand with that. I, honest to God, don't believe we will have a game probably for at least 2 more years would be my guess.
Yeah.
We've heard.
And I'm sure they'll say that past year delayed everything a certain amount. So, it'll who knows? That seems to be everybody's thing. Even now, they're saying we're going to delay. So we haven't heard much from them, but I think it's because it's far enough out that they can't really use it as an excuse yet.
Yeah. And it'll be nice. I tell you what, if the game is in fact, a year and a half or 2 years out, it will be nice because hopefully by that point, a lot of people, myself and you included, Brian, will have 3000 series GPUs. So that could be, right now. Imagine if GTA was to come out right now as well. You wouldn't be able to play it.
Yeah.
And also
I'd want it to be, and the thing is they need to make this purely for the next generation console, because I don't want them, what I hate is when they try to kind of like what they've done with Cyberpunk, is try to backtrack it so much to where it works on these old consoles. Well, if they focus on the new consoles when they release this, because it's going to be far enough out to where people aren't going to be thinking of the old consoles anymore, and then they can push these things to the limit. Because that's one thing GTA has done very well, is and they did this I felt with Red Dead Redemption 2, did an excellent job with AI, way better than I've seen in any other game they've done with AI in Red Dead Redemption 2. This patent is looking at taking that to the next level and making it to where cars, for instance, seem even more real. You didn't really notice it with horses and maybe the buggies because they had much less. But if you look at if you look at GTA, they're dealing with city environments where there's a lot of there's a lot of traffic, and that can create a lot of load on the system, trying to make that seem realistic and have everybody reacting to things. Because you could shoot a gun and the traffic will react instantly and kind of go off. And, if you don't make that work well, you shoot a gun, you could have cars just smashing into each other. I mean, that's kind of what they did in the old one. You start backing up and into walls, just trying to get out of there. I think they're trying to fix that to where that doesn't happen anymore, and it actually seems realistic.
Well, and the real question I have more than anything else is, what are they going to do with the PC release? Because Rockstar...
Are they going to release PC right off the gate? Yeah.
They haven't in the past. Nothing indicates that they will.
That'd be interesting to see.
They didn't do it with Red Dead. They didn't do it with the last GTA. Now, to be fair, the last GTA was, at this point, was it 10 years ago? I think it was 2011 when it came out. So 10 years there's been a lot of change in the PC market in the last 10 years.
I think a lot of people would be expecting it now on PC that weren't before, especially with the whole role playing, 5M crowd. I think that they're going to be demanding it early on.
I would hope that it is a split release between next gen consoles. Well, it'll at that point it'll be current gen consoles, but consoles and PCs. So that's all we've got on GTA. Again, don't expect to see anything over the next little bit, but I guess we'll keep you updated, and as things change, we'll bring them to you.
All right, let's talk about. Well, this is Source Engine, which is put up by the company that produces Steam, and this is one where they have their engine that they use for a number of different games.
Counter-Strike.
Garry's Mod uses Source. Counter-Strike uses
TF2.
Source. Mm-hmm. Team Fortress 2, and they did that recent demo with the VR that was really pushed the kind of Alex, which really pushed the limits of VR and what you would expect out of it. Well, now, based on some game files and things that people have been kind of digging into with a little bit of data mining, they have been seeing hints at ray tracing support. Now, Source Engine has not had ray tracing support up to this point, but they are starting to see in the settings, for instance, RTX, ray tracing shader, which would really make sense, especially if you're doing some sort of the, like with Alex, you're doing the VR where you want the shadows and everything to be perfect from your perspective. And they seem to really go for a very realistic look in Alex. So this is something that we'll see if this carries over. Maybe it will go to CSGO, TF2, some of these other games, but they're looking at putting this into the new Source 2 engine. PH is pointing out Source 2 only, and he says that Gmod won't have it. So that'll be pretty much Alex and then Artifact, which are their two new things that are on the Source engine, Source 2 engine.
They don't have it, but there is if I were Steam, I would look at taking your successful games like CS:GO and TF2 and doing some either moving them
even
to
Half-Life. I think if they did Half-Life, they could sell a bunch of Half-Life remasters, with that use the newer engine, that use ray tracing, and they've done things to improve some of the graphics on the older Half-Lives. I think that and Portal, they could really do a good job of putting out a better looking version of.
Yeah, PH says CSGO is supposedly being ported. It has to. They have to get it. They have to move it to Source 2.
Because it's one of their main games. They've got to keep it up to date. And they're going to want to eventually drop these old, and supporting old Source engine.
I mean,
like
the Source
you don't want to waste time on it.
Is old as dirt. I mean, that Source engine's got to be over 20 years old at this point, if not close to that. It is an incredibly old engine. So, CS:GO will be the and I don't know how it works. I don't know if they can, merge the engines together in some way, shape, or form where they're both technically there. I don't know. I'm not a gaming programmer.
I mean,
but I'm sure they'll find.
I mean, they're not going to do that, but they wrote both engines, so they would have a way to make the newer engine compatible with the old one in some ways, and then maybe have to rewrite some areas.
Yeah. So that is and
PH points out that CS:GO is kind of a mix between Source 1 and 2, so he says, hey, they're halfway there with that one already.
Cool to see that RTX is even coming to an engine that's not as even widely used as Source. I know there's some big games on it, but it's not a widely used engine. But it's nice to see that it's coming, and that indicates to me more than anything else, Brian, that Valve and Steam are working on some next generation games, some bigger projects that could take advantage of RTX. If they weren't working on any new games, realistically, what would be the point of adding RTX to the engine? It's just for what? For one VR game? This indicates to me that they're probably working on something big. Maybe Half-Life 3, a new Portal, and something like that.
Didn't they license to the makers of Rust Source? I something new with the Source, because I think they gave him access to
Rust.
No, but Gary Gary and all his things, they gave him access to the new engine. So it'll be interesting to see if he's either looking at porting some of the old products over, or if they're looking at making new things on the Source 2 engine, because I think all the things that they've been doing have been on the old engine. He says, okay, Gmod 2 will be on Source 2. So, once they come out with that new one, but I haven't heard anything about Gmod 2 yet.
Some time. So interesting, good news for Half-Life 3 fans and Team Fortress 3 fans and Portal 3 fans and Left 4 Dead 3 fans and all of the threes that have been patiently waited
Maybe
upon.
The threes will be ray tracing. They'll just be all the ray tracing versions.
That would be fantastic. So that's what we've got on the Steam, Valve, and Source front from the folks over there. Let's see here. This Xbox Game Pass. I think didn't we already talk about this?
No, I think this one's new, because this one was just announced, I think, today. But they are bringing some more games. I don't think these are the games we talked about. So the Yakuza remastered collection are coming. And then I think there was some other game, Control, I think it was coming. I don't know if that was one we had talked about before. But pretty much they're adding some more games. Now that usually when they add some games, some other games leave. I don't know if that's just the timing or they do their contracts out. But Death's Gambit, Final Fantasy 15, Fishing Sim World, Pro Tour, Gris, Invisible, Reigns, Game of Thrones, and Sea Salt are all leaving currently. And then you'll be having those 8 being added. So,
gotcha.
Control, Desperados 3, and Donut Country are some of the other ones.
Excellent. Well, that is, that's what we've got over there from Xbox. Now, I want to do something that's a little off base, Brian, because I hadn't seen this. This was previewed during, I believe it was during the Game Awards, and I just hadn't seen it. I didn't realize there was a new Mass Effect trailer, which I know is a pretty popular game. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to just play this trailer for the new Mass Effect game. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks or how it skirted under my radar, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that didn't see it. So here is the official teaser trailer for the next and the new Mass Effect game.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched.
Roger, copy. Eagle, Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Structure station. Unknown vessel approaching. We need first contact protocols.
Humanity now stands as partners in the galaxy. Optics is away. Godspeed. What's that place for you? We're gonna take down the dreadnought.
Engines are going
Abandon
Is anyone receiving this? We've lost contact.
anomaly readings all across space.
So that's the trailer for the next Mass Effect. A couple
and they haven't put an official name for that yet, or what are they?
I don't believe that they have. a couple of interesting things to note. First of all, this is another Xbox exclusive. I know it's not an incredibly popular. It used to be an incredibly popular one back in the Xbox 360.
Yeah, they kind of messed up their last release. So if they could put this one out correctly, I would assume people will forgive that. They just did a horrible job, especially with the gaming, like the mouths moving and syncing, and just there was a lot of weird things.
So, Mass Effect.
It's kind of like Mass Effect 5, right? I mean, it's the fifth one.
It was Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 were really good. I really enjoyed those. Mass Effect 3 was all right. So it was a very popular series, and I think it still does have a lot of name recognition. And it's just another one of the potential games that Microsoft could use and put some leverage on their Game Pass service for, if it's a day one release on Game Pass. As we've been kind of following this saga of Microsoft owning exclusives, this is yet another one that they own, and it's possible that that this could be a big one. Again, I don't know one way or the other, but
and I was reading some other articles where they were talking about how Microsoft, it's kind of, we've talked about this a little bit before, but it was just reconfirming that they are talking to the likes of Ubisoft and, all these big companies, not just the ones that we've heard of so far. They're talking to a lot of them, encouraging them to join the Game Pass, because I think they see that if they can get double, let's say, the number of people on Game Pass that they have right now, they can afford to put out a decent amount of money to those various companies and make it worth their while. It's kind of a win-win for everybody. These other companies don't have to do a huge amount of marketing. They don't have to create the infrastructure to release the games. They don't have to do all these things extra on their own platforms. And so it'll be interesting to see if we have any other big studios, big companies coming forward and doing like what they've done with Bethesda and with, just whatever main companies that have been joining them. And so I think that it'll be interesting to see over the next 6 months if any other big titles or big studios come and step on there and actually put their names in the hat for this.
Agreed. So that's all I had. I don't know how I let that slip through the cracks, but Mass Effect is funny. You don't think about it. I don't know if you've ever played the Mass Effect games, Brian, but it does it does fit our genre quite well. Again, the games haven't been popular in 10 years, but the sci-fi horror mix is pretty on par with some of the other survival games that we talk about on the single player side. Doom would be a great example of a game that's similar to that. So yeah, there you go. That's the next Mass Effect. No details, no date. They do have a version coming out early this year. It's the trilogy. I think it's the first 3 games that they're re-releasing.
Maybe remastering a little bit.
Yeah, it's called like Legacy or something like that. Yeah. I haven't played the Mass Effects in 10 years, so I don't know if they still hold up. But
I don't think I played the last one really, because there were so many negative reviews. I just never bothered. I played the one before that. So I'd be interesting, now, especially if they fixed at least some of the stuff to where it's not so ridiculous. I think they did patch for a while, getting the facial animations fixed. To actually even play the last one if they're going to be putting out a new one.
Yeah, I only played the first 3. I'm not even sure I played the whole 3rd one. But there you go.
Hey, so let's talk really quickly about another game. So there is a Viking survival game coming out to Steam Early Access in February, and it's called Valheim. There is a video for this if you want to play that really quickly, but I figured, it's right in our genre. It is a survival game put in the Viking genre, and let's see if this maybe is something that might interest some of our listeners.
All right. Yes. Let's do that. Here is a trailer for a Viking game. Not something. This wasn't in the book, Brian, but I guess it's possible that maybe after all, Vikings will be will be the go-to. Like the soundtrack.
Yeah. Techno Viking. Raid Viking, I guess.
Come on, Brian, give me a headbang. Come on. Woo! Yeah! Bring it on, Valheim!
Everything you didn't know you wanted.
I just want to play now for the soundtrack. That was fantastic.
So this is yes, as you can see at the end, that's coming out February 2nd. The publisher is Coffee Stain Publishing, which I think is the same ones who did Satisfactory, if I remember correctly. I think that's the same company. And this is Iron Gate AB is the developer, but this is February 2nd. You can go on there. I don't see a place to go and pre-order or do anything like that, but they will be releasing it here in less than a month. So keep that. It's an open world survival craft online co-op survival game. So it's not going to be like an MMO, but they will have online co-op. So we'll see what they mean by that. Because sometimes when they say online co-op, that means they just didn't know the right boxes to check and you really have like 50 people, or it could be something you just play with friends, you know, have 2 to 4 friends running around with you and playing through the game. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what that is. Let's see. It looks like they have do they have a release? It says February 2nd is
February 2nd
early
is the
access.
Release date,
It is. Okay,
that's when it's coming out in early access. I'll put a link to the Steam page as well in the notes if people are interested in checking it out.
So reading through this, it says co-op multiplayer, whether you want to brave the lands alone or venture with trusted allies. I'm
thinking it's going to be like maybe what a 4, you know, like one of those ones where you just have a couple and you're doing.
I don't know, because it says it supports independent and player-hosted servers with unlimited world creation. So I don't know if it's going to be more like maybe like a Minecraft where there's worlds.
Maybe you could make a dedicated server and actually kick up the number of players a bit. It'd be interesting how much they try to limit that.
It just says it supports independent player-hosted. It
says dedicated server for players who want to run a persistent server. So I don't know why they would limit it to 4 players unless it's just not made to do that. But we'll have to see what they end up rolling out with.
Looks cool. Maybe get a couple copies, jam out. Hopefully that's just that music's the whole time in game. Like
just the whole time. It's just nonstop.
Yeah, like Doom.
Randomly, the word rage comes up on the screen.
You die.
You die. That'd be funny if they could like dynamically make the music to where it's like constantly doing that, but it's just you died. It always does. You died when you died.
Yeah, like the Wasted from GTA. So interesting. They do have a Discord and a Twitter and a bunch of other stuff, so you can go check them out. Just scrolling through to see if there's any other information. No, that's cool. Where did you find this? Somebody post this, or did you stumble across?
No, I think I found this on Massively OP because they deal with a lot of this style of things. So I think it was that or PC Gamer. I don't recall.
Okay, I hadn't heard about
that. It was PC Gamer, actually. Yeah, I had run across it on PC Gamer, and I figured that, we haven't heard a lot about various upcoming survival games lately, and I figured that would be an interesting one for people to see.
Absolutely. Is that the, let's see, is that the only new game, upcoming game that we have? I think it is.
Okay, no, there's actually a game called Ultimate Zombie Defense did you link to this? Someone put it in our notes, so I figured I would show it up. There's a YouTube video.
I'm gonna have to pull up Discord.
I think you would link to it. I'm not sure if you wanted to play that, but it is just a video. But it is a game that a new survival and tower defense game.
Let me see if I link to it. Yeah, I did link to this. I don't know why. I saw it.
Do you want to be responsible for what this video has?
Well, so let me hold on a second. Let me explain what's going on here.
Okay.
Throughout the week, when I'm either on my phone or at my computer, if I see anything that is survival related at all, I don't do any. I literally just take the link and instantly throw it in Discord, because who knows what it could be. It could be the next big thing. So I
put it in the show notes, just trusting that you have a good reason for this. And
I have no good reason, but it's in the show notes now, so we can talk about it.
Perfect.
So it's a top-down zombie game. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that it's a new survival game. This looks
and this
similar.
has a lot of gameplay because this video is like 22 minutes, and so you can actually see quite a bit of how it works. So I mean, we don't need to play it, but if you're interested, click on the video because they do just pretty much 22 minutes of gameplay of really seeing how.
Okay,
how
okay. It all makes sense. So now I found the place I found this. So it's you can say it's a mobile game. It's not. It's a Steam game. It just came out. It's been out since December. It all makes sense now. It's got 89% positive reviews in the past 30 days. So that's good. It's very positive overall, 91% overall. It's a 4-player online co-op. So it's like a top-down, similar to some sort of Left 4 Dead. I don't have any more information on it. All I know is it was a survival game.
$4.99.
Yep, I saw it. It looks like it has decent reviews. It's got almost 400 reviews. I haven't played it. I don't know anybody that has played it. I don't have any friends that have it on Steam, but obviously somebody is enjoying it. So
yeah,
you can,
there's a lot of positive feedback about it. So
So again, I don't know why I'm being crucified for throwing links in the show notes, but I don't know where I came across this. It was either Reddit or I was going to say Twitter, but I haven't been on Twitter. Maybe it was on Gab, possibly. I doubt it. Or one of the gaming blogs.
Well, I put a Steam link in there, so if anyone's interested in purchasing it and trying it out, and then there's that gameplay video you can check out. Okay, let's talk about another game that you've recommended quite a bit. Chronicles of Elyria. They put out
not true. That was you.
Update.
You interviewed him. That was not me.
I did interview him.
That is blasphemy. I don't even like
if
MMOs.
Everyone remember,
why would I be promoting this game? I've never played an MMO in my life for more than 3 weeks. That's the insanity that you would even make that compliment or that comment. Yeah.
Well, hey, this could be the next up and coming game. We just don't realize it yet. So, Chronicles of Elyria. If people remember, we've talked about it recently because he's getting sued, and all of a sudden he has this renewed interest in game development. So he's put out another video. So this is the second video since being sued. That he's put out as a game update video. And so let's go ahead and play that. And he has information of what we can expect from Chronicles of Elyria in the upcoming future.
Bet you they spent about $4.5 million on
the
intro.
Whoops. It's Jeremy here from Soulbound Studios. Welcome to episode 2 of Inside Chronicles of Elyria. In episode 1, we covered a fair number of topics, including early development, past difficulties we encountered, and more. It wasn't intended to cover everything, but instead give you an overview of what we've accomplished so far. In this video, and into the next, we'll be taking a closer look at what we're working on now, as well as our current and future plans. When we set out to create COE, design and development was split into 3 phases. The first phase, previously referred to as pre-alpha, was intended to give us time to build our platform and scalable backend while validating it against our core game systems. Highest on that list was our physics and chat servers. The second phase, referred to as Alpha 1, contained milestones and feature work focusing on elements you'd expect from a more traditional MMORPG. This included things such as exploration, trade, crafting, combat, and plenty of opportunities for adventure. You've seen sides of this in previously released videos. Whether it's jousting on horseback, sneaking through settlements, or just exploring the game world, these videos were intended to demonstrate how your character looks, feels, and interacts with the world around them in COE, and showcase our unique take on what players typically expect from the genre. At its heart, the Alpha 1 mechanics were designed to be accessible to those familiar with MMORPGs, but innovate in ways that solved well-known problems, paving the way for the next evolution of MMOs. The third phase, which we previously referred to as Alpha 2, contained features and mechanics that were far more political and organizational in nature. It focused heavily on land ownership, settlement management, trade, taxes, governance, and the emergent storytelling that accompanies the rise and fall of nobles and aristocrats. It's the side of the game that appeals most to those who enjoy playing settlement management, 4X, and grand strategy games. It's also the side of COE that appeals to those looking to exploit the metagame, negotiating, deceiving, and forming alliances against strategic enemies in an effort to rise to the top and hold their station as a powerful player or organization on the world stage. It's a metagame seen in other games like EVE Online. a metagame we refer to as the Dance of Dynasties. Development of Chronicles of Elyria is the culmination and integration of all three phases, and while we could have put either Alpha 1 or 2 first, we put them in the order that we did because we felt the more traditional MMO aspects would appeal to the largest number of players, not only because they're more familiar, but because the nature of settlement and domain management means there's always a need for more adventurers and landowners than aristocrats and nobles. Interestingly enough, between our method of crowdfunding, the ability to engage in the Dance of Dynasties during ongoing development, and people's ability to roleplay and organize communities around their settlements and domains, what transpired was that the Alpha 2 phase of development was far more interesting and exciting to our active community members. Looking at where we are after the layoffs and the impact of the pandemic, it'll come as no surprise that we've had to adjust our course of development to react to these challenges. As a result, we've shuffled our priorities to focus on the things that make the best use of our resources and provide us with the best path toward completing Chronicles of Elyria. Taking the previous 2 points together meant placing our efforts into design and development of the kingdom, settlement, and land management mechanics, rather than furthering the adventuring mechanics, effectively swapping Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. This is partially due to the sheer number of animations and other assets still needed for the adventuring mechanics, but also because kingdom and land management provides backers far more value and opportunities to interact with their bloodlines, settlements, and domains. Over the coming months, we'll be detailing the roadmap for the remainder of the project, but in recent months, we've been working to delve deeper into the design of land, settlement, and domain management, as well as putting together plans to get these and other mechanics into your hands as quickly as possible. To begin with, we've been revisiting our earlier work on Elyria Chat. In spite of having Discord for out-of-character communication, the benefits of providing in-character communication toward encouraging safe roleplay and continued community building can't be understated, and we're looking forward to providing new and better ways for you to engage with one another. Second, and most importantly, I've been doing focused, low-level design work on the kingdom, settlement, and land management mechanics. I've been working to detail the various economics surrounding currency, trade, taxes, and land ownership. On the settlement management side, I've been working on nailing down a functionally complete list of all the different building types with their various station and other requirements, as well as the associated passive and active bonuses they provide. And on the domain management side, I've been diving into design focused on governments, criminal justice, succession, diplomacy, and conflict, the last of which requires establishing the full set of Casus Belli. Now this video is too short for me to dive into depth on any one of these, so we'll be providing in-depth design blogs to go over them in the coming weeks and months.
Jesus.
This change in focus and reordering of our milestones is an opportunity for the Chronicles of Elyria community as well as Soulbound Studios to chart a new path forward, to redefine the way you interact with one another and the way we interact with you. I want to stress that none of this means development on the adventuring mechanics has ended. It's simply a case that right now, based on the challenges we face, getting something into your hands has never been more important, and we want to focus our attention on the areas that are most exciting to our backers and community members.
Hold on a second. Oh, I got to pause this. Did you just hear what he just said? I need to roll this back. Listen to what this is all about. Listen, I'm going to roll you back here for 4 seconds. Just keep your eyes closed and just listen to what he just said.
I want to stress that none of this means development on the adventuring mechanics has ended. It's simply a case that right now, based on the challenges we face, getting something into your hands has never been more important.
There's the issue right there. They're trying to get something into people's hands so they can't be sued. That's literally what he just said. There's no words being put in his mouth. They literally just said, we'll finish the video. He literally just said, nothing really matters right now. Our goal is to get something into your hands. That's the goal of the game right now. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what it is. We just need something playable so we can go, we delivered on our promises.
And whatever thing is closest and easiest to get to release of a feature. And it looks like, as far as these different alphas, I assume he's doing it kind of like that other game that just recently shut down, where they had created the one where, you did certain aspects of the game and they released that. Then there was the one for managing the village, and then they released that because they did them in pieces. Here, he hasn't released a single piece yet, and that's the problem. He should have focused on, if they're doing Alpha 1, push that until release. and then start working on the next one so that people have something in their hands so they don't feel like you're wasting their time, which everyone who's followed Chronicles of Elyria, I think, would probably agree with that. They've just wasted everybody's time up to this point.
And we want to focus our attention on the areas that are most exciting to our backers and community members.
Lawyers.
Moving forward, we'll be gradually demonstrating more and more of what we've been working on. But as stated,
really?
Please be patient with us while we work to deliver on one of the most highly anticipated releases in our journey towards the completion of COE. Okay, everyone. As I mentioned in the first video, feel free to send feedback, questions, and comments to insidecoe@soulboundstudios.com, and I'll do my best to address what I can in an upcoming video. Keep an eye out for our first all-new design journal in the coming weeks, which will explore the recent design work in greater depth. Pledged to the continued development of the Soulborn engine and the Chronicles of Elyria, this is Jeremy Walsh from Soulbound Studios, and we'll see you on the next episode of Inside Chronicles of Elyria.
I feel like I'm watching a Afghani hostage video with the.
That's exactly what I was thinking before you even said that. I thought when you started saying that, I was like, I wonder if he's going to say like a hostage video.
Hey guys, this is Nick with Infection Podcast. We love doing the show. I wouldn't change it for my life. I wish I could give all of my money to Brian and to the fans because I don't need any of it because I love doing this podcast so much. Tune in next week where we'll have more games and fun things for you to do. Send me an email because I disabled comments and likes on our YouTube channel. See you next time. Like, come on, dude.
I think this is part of the issue is he probably went to an attorney and they said, well, if you want, they're suing you because you've shown no, because
you've done nothing.
I have a feeling. Yeah. He's like, so they're like, you better start acting and looking like you're close to releasing something like you've been doing for the past 5 years up to this point, and actually pretend that you're putting something out. So I think him saying that he wasn't putting anything out is what triggered all of this.
Yeah, so it's a new video that just came out today, so good catch on that. It's got almost 3,000 views, which is not great. There's no way to, again, no public comments, no public Discord in any stretch of the imagination because they've locked it all down.
Yeah.
So if you want to
which
have
is probably
question,
a smart move because imagine the comment section of this video.
And here's the thing I'm a little concerned with. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not concerned about anything. Who cares? But I find it interesting that the guy building the game is also saying, send me an email and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions possible. Like, I don't want you answering the emails at all. Like, I thought you're building the game. Yeah. Like, I don't want you to waste time responding to something. Like,
but he's the only employee now.
Is he married?
He kept saying we. I don't know. Probably not anymore.
Like, come on, you can't get somebody in there at $8 an hour to sift through some emails. I mean, come on, Brian. That would be like if Tim Sweeney
he
came
was
out with
paying
something
people
like
$100,000 a year to answer emails before. I mean, this is a big stretch.
Well, I mean, maybe he can hire me.
Well, that's what happened to all the money.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe his wife was answering the emails for $200,000 a year.
I mean, I wish I was his wife if that was the case. So I'm optimistic, Brian. I would love nothing more because here's the thing: there's only losers here, right? The community that backed the game has lost. We kind of did you back this game? I don't think so.
No, I mean, I thought about it and then I didn't end up.
So the backers have lost. The kind of fringe people like us that are generally interested in this genre, and we lose in here. The gaming industry as a whole loses because you've got yet another game that has overpromised and underdelivered. And then at the end of the day, this guy, I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he probably just doesn't know how to run a business. So yeah, it would be great if this game could succeed. I wouldn't gamble anything on it.
I just think he doesn't have an idea of what's called scope of you have to set up parameters that are realistic for your project. And then you do your best to maintain those. You do your best to not let that grow beyond and have scope creep. And you try to not drop too many features so that is what you were hoping for in the beginning. This guy has messed up every single one of those possible. Like every negative thing he could have done in development, he has done. To lose the faith of the people that were fans of it, to actually not deliver a single thing because you're trying to do everything at once rather than doing one thing at a time or doing one section at a time where you can release something. I mean, he's just dropped the ball a lot. And right now he's the only one managing it. So we'll see if he can actually put this together and improve and maybe put something out. But I don't know. I mean, he needs to get something out, but with one programmer doing everything, that's why he's not doing the things that require animation and assets. He's doing all these kind of the mini games of the game. Is what he's working on right now because they require less graphics and answering emails all day. So there you go.
Well, I did not think 2021 would be the year of Chronicles of Elyria, but at this rate, we might have a video every couple weeks, which is exciting. And I don't. Let's see. I lost it in chat. Who said? Head Neophyte said, "What dictated the length of this video?" Yeah, I mean, it was literally 7 minutes of him just saying like, "None of this is ready." But yeah, stay tuned for a blog rather that's going to have it written out. I mean, it was literally 7.5 minutes of him saying nothing. I learned nothing from that video.
It's the "please don't sue me" video. We'll just call them that. Please.
It's unfortunate because it's so obvious. I mean, literally like an Afghani refugee or an Afghani hostage, I should say. Like the gun is just off frame. So.
Well, hey, let's look at his competition, which I'm sure he's going to do wonderfully against. Amazon's New World has put out another update to their beta or their alpha.
Okay.
And they're talking about some of the things and this is a very big world, a new MMO, and it has a full game studio, Amazon game studio behind it. And so they've gone through, and here's a quote, because they've been focusing on the upcoming crafting system in their January patch that they just recently did. It says, "We made major changes to increase the number of items players can craft and added additional functionality to the crafting system. The main goal for these changes is to keep crafting and gathering relevant through endgame while adding more depth, a new interface, and more interesting choices in the crafting system." So they're saying that it looks as if players can look forward to new items, rarities, rare materials. And then, possibly like a level 200 crafting cap, and says this is to give player more control and flexibility, over the custom crafting. So they're putting in like the rapier, a bunch of unique weapons, armor pieces, all kinds of different things in here. So we will see. They also tweaked some of the visual models for mobs, enemy AI, and other things that they put into this patch, but that was one of the main things. So they are still working on it. It'll be interesting to see if this becomes, comes out of the alpha, the private alpha, and gets to where people can actually play it a little bit towards the end of the year, or if this is something we'll see next year.
I would hope that by the end of this year, they seem to be pretty far along.
They're making progress.
Yeah, I would be surprised if, honestly, Brian, I'd be surprised by late summer if there's not something that's more readily available than what it is right now. I mean, they seem to have, from what I've seen, they seem to have a good enough done that they could at least have that.
And with because I did their last alpha, they did, I think, a little one right after it, but the first one where they kind of came out of seclusion here, and they had made a drastic difference from the previous one. So they are making very big changes. And it's not like they're doing it every week because they don't post these patch notes. At least I don't see them every week, but I think they're really pushing to get this thing out. And you can see if you go to their page, they show screenshots that look beautiful. So they're doing a really good job with the UI, the world, and the animations look really good. So I think this will be a very good MMO once they finally get it out. I think it'll be something worth, much better graphics than a lot of the MMOs we have out right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe it's an MMO, but speaking of video games, do we have a game giveaway?
Yes. All right. So let me, I'll get this open here. So if it's !point giveaway, 60 points, which means you've been watching for about an hour. If you follow the channel, you get 10 cans. And also you have to be a follower to enter this. I figured, why not? So if you follow the channel, that gives you 10 cans. If you're listening for 50 more minutes, you can enter for this. We're giving away a copy of PC Building Simulator.
Oh man.
And this is,
can I enter for this one?
Oh yeah, if you're interested in it, you're more than welcome to. If I don't know if you watched that, what was that CNET video, or which one was it that did the video that was just horrible that everybody freaked out about?
It was The Verge.
The Verge, yes, The Verge did their PC building video, and it got slaughtered. So I mean, if you're going to be making another video like this, you may want to prepare yourself on PC Gaming Building Simulator. This is a $20 game, overwhelmingly positive recently. I mean, that's just how amazing it is. Very positive overall. That's with about over 24,000 reviews. And that's about 1,500 reviews for recently for the overwhelmingly positive. And so it's a simulation education immersive sim with building. So I've not tried it. It seems like it would be pretty interesting, but it's got a lot of really good reviews, and people compare it to like Euro's Truck Simulator, as far as the style. So it'd be interesting to see how they kind of extend the playability of this game more than just building a PC.
Absolutely. And we are here. And actually, it is more than that, because Brian, the way that it works is, I'm no expert in it, but so you're actually running a business. That's the in-game thing. So so you're making money by doing repairs and building, and you're waiting for parts to be delivered. It's kind of a process. I've watched a couple of videos on it.
It sounds like it'd be fun.
Now, I will say this, infectionpodcast.com/live is the place where you can keep up to date with our home for the live version of Infection Podcast. We're happy to be here on Twitch as of right now, but with the turbulent times that we're living in on the internet, that may change. So make sure for the live program, you check out infectionpodcast.com/live and follow us on social media. And of course, our website. We'll always put notices on infectionpodcast.com. Let's talk about 7 Days to Die real quick. Not really anything on the news front, but we do have some new artwork, and this is the new zombie dog that they're working on as part of their, I think they're calling it their HDification of Alpha 20. And this is this. You remember what the dogs looked like previously, which was garbage.
They're leaving the Windows 95 paint version, and they're going to...
their current dogs look like... You ever see, like, farmers, they have those posts of the dog that just spins, and it's supposed to keep the birds or prey. That's literally what their current dogs look like. But they've got these new ones in here, these highly textured dogs. You can see its ribs are showing. It's got a lot of its skin either melted or torn off. Half of its jaws missing. Just very, very grueling. But you can see that, and that's part of their HD things that they're doing in the game. So looks good. It looks disgusting, which is exactly how you'd want it to look for a game like this. And I look forward to seeing this as part of the other, or in conjunction with the other things that they're adding to this to make the game look make it look like it's not an N64 game, maybe.
Or Gary's mod.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's talk about Fortnite really quick. This is actually not a huge update, but they did do a patch here, and they're adding, now they call them football game mode, but this is soccer for people in the United States. And so they're adding a bunch of soccer teams. They're adding now they have a video. It's an interview with the person that this emote is based on, and he's speaking in a different language. So I mean, there's not really, and it's just video of him running around and doing it. Not they just show, I think, at the very end the actual emote itself. So I don't know if you want to play that or not.
No, not if it's not in English. Yeah, I'll play it in the background.
It's not in English. So if you just want to play the video, you can kind of see what's going on. But they're so they have a game mode that they're doing that is supposedly soccer. And then they have this air punch that you see this guy doing. This is a new emote that you can do for the soccer theme. And then they have a bunch of things for various sports teams that you can see as well. So now the soccer one, I think it's in creative mode that you have to do it, and it's like a 4v4 game mode of soccer. So it's not going to be in the regular one when you're jumping in for the BR. But they got soccer stuff. So this is pretty exciting. Here we go. There's the
wow.
There you go. There's the emote. They showed it for a quarter of a second at the very end, and it's a bunch of old video of him running around in a foreign language. So
yeah,
perfect.
Very good. So yes, don't know anything about football or soccer, but yeah, looks good.
It's exciting. I'm sure it only costs you like $5, and you can.
Well, I mean, hey, you can flex on your stepson by pissing away your hard-earned money buying this. That's what you should do.
Oh, that's true. I could just start wasting money and just flaunting it.
That would show.
I have the most. I buy the most worthless emotes.
That would be. I would be a real flex. That would be a real alpha move.
I don't try for the good ones. I get the bad ones too.
That's how much power I have.
I'm going to buy all clarify. It's not wasting. No, investing. I'm investing.
I don't
just imagine how much my Fortnite account will be worth someday.
Hey, go flip it on eBay. I'm sure that's not against their terms of service.
I know. Some kid will.
Did you ever back in the day, did you ever buy or sell any WoW accounts?
I thought about selling mine when I quit playing because it would have been worth quite a bit of money back then, because you can't really do it anymore. It's just not really worth it anymore, because you can buy levels. You can buy something that takes you near max level. If you had somebody who really geared up, to the current high level gear of the current one, it'd be worth something for a little bit. But it used to be, I had 6 at least max levels. 4 of them were geared almost as good as you could gear them. That would have been worth quite a bit of money back then. So that is something that I did think about, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because, I like to jump on there and play every once in a while. I just haven't had time. I'd love to play now, but man, I'm just too busy.
Okay. Well, thought it was worth the question. All right, so that's what we've got from Fortnite. Let's see. Want to talk about
Cyberpunk for a little bit, because I don't think we've talked about Cyberpunk yet today. Well, we've hinted at Cyberpunk, but there's some things that came out. First of all, there's been some data mining on the files, and they're starting to see hints of things about multiplayer. First of all, they have something that's like set heist state. So it sounds like they're going to do some sort of heists and things like that, kind of like what you would have in GTA or even in Payday. And, various things linked to the multiplayer area of that. So Muppets, which I think are the NPCs. Then they have things for the players when the players are ready. Just a lot of different aspects of this thrown into the code. Kills, deaths, ping, a lot of things that you wouldn't see in the online or in the local only version of this. So they are working. I thought they were going to have a separate executable, but we will see if that's if this is just stuff that was early on that got left into this client, and then they split it at some point. I would assume that they're probably trying to get this Cyberpunk fixed as much as possible, and then going to be split the other client off of it, because they're not going to want to have to go and double do all these changes and try to make it close. So we will see, but they are working on it. I think right now it's hinting at pretty much P2P, which is not having dedicated servers, but that could be more easily changed based on probably the various different kind of game modes they may do with it. So right now it looks like it's just player to player. That works okay, but in certain aspects, as you've seen with a number of other games, when you get somebody with a bad connection, that can really mess up the game. Or like we noticed in that sniper game, when the host drops out, it kicks everybody to the lobby. So that can be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we got that. There are some more potential lawsuits going on. This is yet another class action lawsuit. This one revolves again around the investors. It's been this case all the time. You as a player are not going to be able to sue them. You don't have a case, but they're traded. They're on a stock exchange in Europe. So there's now another a second class action lawsuit from investors over Cyberpunk. So just take that for what it's worth. No real details on it. It's just another lawsuit from more investors in a different state. So that's all that is. And then they again in the second one now, they said that they will vigorously defend the game in its lawsuit. So they have no intentions of
well, that's part of investment.
They believe in the product.
Well, but an investment is a risk. If you could sue, based on investment. You'd have to prove that they intentionally did bad things, or
no. All you have to prove is that they misled and lied, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying, that they intentionally did some sort of.
And
now there are documents saying that they knew that a lot of this stuff was broken prior to release.
Exactly.
That's what may come back to bite them a little bit.
Yeah, and it should. I mean, people. Again, I don't know how the investment. I was never an investor into CD Projekt Red, because that's who their investment is. It's not into Cyberpunk. It's CD Projekt Red.
Yeah,
I was not an investor.
It's the parent company.
Yeah, and I'm not an investor, and so I don't know how that works. But I mean, I would say that these class action lawsuits probably do have some standing, Brian. I mean, from what I've seen from the Xbox,
but can they show loss is the issue, because they can claim that they didn't get as much as they possibly could have. Right.
Yeah,
but they'd have to show loss.
Well, yeah, I don't know. All I know is that their stock plummeted after the game released. And obviously some legal firm is taking this on, so they must believe that there's some bit of money. I don't know how much or how little. There's something to be made here. So there's yet another one. This one, I believe, now filed in New York instead of California, but they're fighting it. So we'll see. Not what we should be talking about with Cyberpunk, but it's where we are.
Well, and we'll see as they start to push out these updates how much of this changes going forward. Because if they can patch this thing to where it doesn't feel so broken, it's just when there's very obvious broken things in the game, with animations not looking right, that it's harder for people to kind of look over that. A lot of the stuff in the background, most people don't even notice are happening. So we will see what they end up doing.
Absolutely. I came across this past week. I was listening to a podcast or something, and they said, "Oh, did you hear about PUBG 2?" And I was like, "What?" I hadn't heard about it, but then I started doing some Googling, and I found a couple of tweets and some whatnot that there is a known leaker known as Player IGN shared an excerpt from a Korean publication that notes that PUBG 2.0 and PUBG Mobile 2.0 are in the making. So don't really have anything outside of that, but it is, we see now Arc 2 is coming out. We're seeing Apex add a multiplayer kind of TDM deathmatch mode to that game, potentially a PUBG 2 / PUBG 2 Mobile. This is the first I'd heard about it, but I hadn't seen anything since this tweet, and it translates a Korean press release. It's not a press release; it's some sort of Korean note.
And I have another article here that's talking about from PC Gamer, where they say that, and here's their quote: "A new game in the PUBG universe will release on PC and consoles by next year." So
that's different. So yes.
So that could be something. So that's another thing with Blue Hole. That's another thing by the company, but that's not. Nowhere do they say that this is going to be the 2.0. So that seems like that is something separate from this.
Yes, so. I did. So and I read a little bit about this, and I don't remember seeing anything definitive that showed me one thing or the other. But apparently there is going to be something PUBG related, but it is not PUBG 2 that will be out. That will be out this year.
This year, pretty much this year, yeah.
But then there will be another game, a PUBG 2 allegedly, that will be out sometime soon.
Do you think that that's them pretty much trying to fix? I wonder if their code is such a mess that they're finding it very difficult to optimize it and make it cross-play and all this.
No, it's about making money.
Oh, yeah, you think so? I mean, I wonder why they wouldn't. They would make a 2.0 rather than.
How long ago did you buy PUBG?
I don't know. Is this 4 years ago? Is it?
And how much did you spend?
4 years.
$40. Actually, we got free keys.
Maybe.
But
yeah, we got free. But
okay, $40. I mean, so you gave them $40 4 years ago. They're trying to make some money. I mean, the skin market and what would be interesting is
if they. It'd be interesting if they kind of push this to maybe have a little bit of a single player mode. Push it out to where it's more like a regular game, less of a BR. have a BR mode in there. But if you really want this franchise to continue, you got to walk away from the BR a little bit. I understand you're one of the beginners of the BR, but you got to understand if you want to stay relevant, you can't, just be that BR that's been there forever. People aren't going to be interested in a 2.0 if there's not something different.
Yeah.
But it will have crossplay at least.
Yes. So I personally don't think that the world is itching for a PUBG. I don't think people are itching for PUBG with just the 2.0 slapped on the end of it. I don't think there's any want or need for a new battle royale game right now. Well,
and I was going to say that Brendan, remember he had hinted at a project that was not PUBG. He was making his own. I haven't heard about anything about that for all year. Well, all of last year, right? I think we heard something about. Remember, he had that still image that kind of showed, or it was a little short video clip that kind of showed the world around, but there wasn't really anything happening. I haven't heard a single thing about that since that clip, and that just kind of made me think about it. I wonder if we're going to hear anything about that, if they're still working on it, or if COVID kind of made that all drop off.
Yeah,
I'll try to do a little bit of digging. I'll put a note down and try to do a little digging onto that, see if I can find any more information, because I'd be interested to see if he's actually working on releasing anything as well.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. So we'll keep an eye on that. So that's what we've got on PUBG and PUBG 2.
Well, they do have the 10.2 patch. They have a video for this if you want to play it really quickly, because they have added some things recently to the current PUBG that everybody's playing right now.
Season 10 is well underway, but we're just getting started. This update, we're adding a new vehicle to some of your favorite battlegrounds, giving you new ways to interact with the upcoming PGIS esports tournament, adding a new way to style on that dirt bike of yours, and more. Let's dive into Update 10.2. First up, the Coupe RB is a brand new two-seater vehicle speeding its way to Erangel, Miramar, and Sanaa. Capable of reaching speeds up to 150 kilometers per hour, this new coupe is the fastest Battlegrounds vehicle on 4 wheels. Don't expect to transport your entire squad in the RB, but if you're looking for a fast vehicle with a bit more protection than a bike, pick up the Coupe RB on your next drive. Speaking of vehicles, this update brings a few new ways for you to show off while on that dirt bike. With our new vehicle emotes, you've got awesome stunts ready at the push of a button. Simply click the left mouse button by default on PC while in the air on a dirt bike, and you'll randomly perform one of 6 preset stunts. To end your stunt, simply release the button. We're looking forward to watching how you utilize stunts into your games. The PUBG Global Invitational S is starting soon, and we've included some cool new ways for you to check out the action, even if you're in the action yourself. Throughout Erangel and Miramar, you'll now see video displays broadcasting the PGIS action while you play out your own battlegrounds. You can also watch from within the game lobby itself, so there are plenty of opportunities to follow along. PGIS will also feature its own Pick'em challenge, so keep an eye on the esports tab for how you can participate. On top of our main updates, we're bringing some changes to ranked mode penalties to be more lenient if your team fails to fully form or connect, adding in a reputation system to encourage players to avoid toxic behavior in-game, and also implementing a number of quality of life updates. As always, you can check out the patch notes for all the details on these changes and more. Update 10.2 is here, so drop in and burn rubber with the new Coupe RB, or grab a dirt bike and left-click your way to virtual X Games startup. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
They can hit a 2.0? No?
They've shown this a couple times at the end. They've shown that. I feel like we've
makes
seen that
you
a couple
wonder.
times.
It seems like they're hinting at something, and it makes you wonder what they're.
That kind of gave me a what was that Tom Clancy game? The Division. That kind of had like the ATV thing.
Makes you wonder if they're
yeah.
Maybe they're teasing a new map, or who knows what. Maybe they're just showing off a piece of something, then not explaining it, and then they'll reveal it later. So
I really like those videos. They need to get a new guy doing the voiceover though. That guy has like literally no enthusiasm in his voice. It's like, well, that's all we've got for season 10. Come burn rubber. See you next time. It's like okay.
The problem is when you get certain ones, like I hear like a certain voice that's in Destiny 2, and then I hear the same voice actor in WoW, and it just throws me off because it's like, wait,
come on,
this is
like listen to the end of this.
As always, you can check out the patch notes for all the details on these changes and more. Update 10.2 is here, so drop in and burn rubber with the new Coupe RB, or grab a dirt bike and left-click your way to virtual X Games startup. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
What if that's just like one of the developers doing it for him?
I think it probably is, but like it literally sounds like the guy's just reading right off the piece of paper.
They need a shadow Frax.
They need
somebody
me
with a British accent. Okay, or they could have you do it.
I could do it.
Yeah, put in a demo. Put in a demo tape.
Check out the patch notes and come burn rubber with me in game. I think that'd be fun.
I'm sure they would be like, oh yeah, that's what we're missing.
I mean, hey,
you got all the equipment. Hey,
yeah,
what can go wrong?
Hey, Brandon, I'm available at reasonable rates. So, all
right,
that's 10.2. By the way, the dirt bike's cool. Many games don't have dirt bikes. The new got a fast new 2-wheel car. That whole idea of doing the in-game, watching the in-game tournament, that's very Counter-Strikey. Which is one of the most popular esports and can keep a game alive well after it's not keep it alive, can keep the enthusiasm around a game really propped up. And I think PUBG's done a pretty poor job with
especially
esports.
I think especially over in Asia, where they're a little bit more into the mass esports than we are here. So
yeah, so that's what we've got on that.
All right. Well, here let's do a quick update on Elite Dangerous.
Sure.
This was not the news I was hoping for, but they are following along with everyone else. So here's an update from Elite Dangerous about Odyssey. They said, of course, not that we've heard this before, 2020 was a difficult year for many. But in spite of those challenges, we are very pleased with the progress towards what is truly ambitious new era for the game. We've been delighted with the excitement and positive response to our development diaries, interviews, streams, and trailers, and want to thank all of you for the continued support. The ongoing impact of the pandemic, however, including the renewed lockdown in 2021, continues to put added pressure on our teams and ultimately our development timeline. So we have therefore had to make the difficult decision to make some adjustments and changes to our existing development roadmap. Our PC plans have only been affected by a small amount. However, our plans for console release will unfortunately see a larger development shift. Please do know that these difficult decisions have been made with a focus on making Odyssey as incredible as it can possibly be for everyone. So, Alpha is early spring 2021 is what they're looking at pushing out. PC release will be late spring 2021. Console release will be autumn 2021. So, not ridiculous, but they're pushing it out. Of course, as they said, PC isn't as bad. Console is going to be pushed out a little bit more, but they are a little bit behind schedule.
I don't understand. I don't know of any new lockdowns that have. Are they US based company?
No, they're based out of, I think, the UK, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so all right, so maybe so there might be some relevance there. But here's the thing that I have, like, Brian, I don't know about. Well, I know for your company, like, you've had to adapt to, like, this has been going on for now almost a year.
Yep.
Like, at this point, you and your company needed and should have already adapted. It's no longer an excuse. Like, we're going on a year of this nonsense.
Yeah.
So what is this excuse? Oh, new lockdowns in 2021. You're telling me that you, since March of last year, you put nothing in place so that these lockdowns wouldn't affect your production? I mean, this to me is insane. Yeah. No other industry is getting away with this. I mean, it's just it's stupid. It just makes no sense.
And now, with a lot of, so early on, for instance, I'll just give an example with my company. I had a contract I was getting ready to start right at the beginning of last year. Right before COVID and everything was announced. The contract was with a food production company. They work with restaurants and everything. Pretty much killed the ability to do that contract because almost every single restaurant was shut down for a long time. But all of those projects and everything are now starting to go back to normal. So this is something that how much longer going forward are we going to be able to continue using COVID as an excuse is kind of one of my question here.
I don't know.
Where most places are starting to kind of go back to normal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if not, like, okay, these guys are video game developers. So they are working in a code repository. Yeah. You're telling me since March of 2020, you haven't been able to develop a system that would allow these people to work remotely?
Well, I'm sure they are.
Well, they can't be, because then how is your excuse of extended lockdowns? That doesn't make any sense. I'm just saying,
there
BS.
are a few extra headaches dealing with large assets and things, but worst case, you could. I'd have to see what the rules are in the UK, because here, like, you could go in the office and just put a person in each room and get away with it. I wonder if in the UK that they're that much more strict, where these guys are having to be at home.
They
no
are,
what. And which internet connections and everything can cause weird issues for some people, but not for the whole company.
The UK has had some of the strictest regulations in the world, but again, since March of last year, this didn't just happen. This didn't happen last week. I mean, if they said it got delayed because of 2020, but to say the new lockdowns in 2021, we're freaking 3 weeks into the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find this to be I don't know. I find this to be nauseating at this point. It's just it's just so stupid. Every excuse is COVID. Just say we didn't have enough time to get it done.
Well, I mean, you could even say, hey, the delay in the beginning of the year getting ramped up and dealing with COVID has caused us to be delayed, on our final release date, because we want to still deliver the product that we were pushing for at the beginning of last year. It's going to take us an extra month or two to make up for, the early delays of COVID. That I'd rather have as an answer rather than, pandemic plus all the new restrictions this year have really put us behind. Okay, well, these 2 weeks have been horrible. I understand, but they're not delaying your game yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. That I don't know. That's something. That really gripes my ass. I don't know why. So Brian, I'm sorry for you. I know that you were very much looking forward to this, but hopefully, I mean, I don't know if they're just assuming the pandemic's going to end. But I mean, they're going to, it's from all indications. Maybe this will change on Wednesday, but the pandemic is not going anywhere anytime soon. So they probably should figure out how to develop a video game remotely. Or there's going to be some continuing problems for them. So we'll see.
Well, how about we talk about, there's a video. Let's watch a Rust video, because they don't seem to slow down. Rust is one of the only games that I haven't heard them make an excuse of, this pandemic has caused us not to be able to do ... They are constantly every week putting out progress. And I think it's because they have been remote workers, proving that you can, as a developer making a game, be a remote worker. So let's go ahead and watch this update video. And they have some new things and some quality of life improvements.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadow Franks here with your regular injection of rusty information, where this week it shouldn't take very long. But first, make sure you're subbed, of course, to stay on the cutting edge of development news, and tune into my channel over on Twitch. Why not? Talking of Twitch, the latest round of drops have now ended, but some more streamer-specific ones are on the way, and we're just waiting to find out what that lineup will be. I'm sure the selection process was rigorous as usual. So, which long-time regular Rust creators would you like to rep in-game? Let me know down below, please. In development news, this week saw some vital quality of life improvements over on the staging branch. There was a fix to the airdrop event just not happening, and another to stop you being able to place deployables such as lanterns, etc. on auto turrets, because that was just way too much fun. Bradley's line of sight saw some improvements to prevent him from shooting you through buildings apparently, and the lock position on tool cupboards was tweaked slightly so that you can see a bit more of the completely non-functional handle underneath. As well as this, wooden shop fronts are now going to be default blueprints and cost 150 wood to craft. Praise be! What an update. All of the changes you never knew you needed.
Yes, but pages still say slant instead of silent.
Hey, quiet you. Be slant. Sorry. In works in progress, here's a picture of the Subterranean Zerg Transportation Unit, or Work Cart, as it's being referred to, which I missed out last week's vid because I was told I wasn't allowed to show it. But what do you think? Is it bigger than you expected? You definitely wouldn't be able to miss it, that's for sure, and it seems like quite a few of your friends could join you for the ride, although you wouldn't all be protected, of course. As mentioned previously, these will be running around the new Rust Metro, which is planned to link up all of the island's current tracks to nowhere and take them underground. Exciting times. Not sure yet when it'll be arriving, that's still subject to change, just like the British rail network, but I'll let you know as soon as I spot it. Over on the Happy's rescue attempt, you're not going to recognise it when it's finally done, it seems. I received some new shots of progress this week, although they don't show a lot, and bear in mind these are from the editor, so there are no spawns. At that junction though, top quality. The southern desert area is going to get a huge overhaul apparently, but probably as a separate phase. And hopefully, I'm told, if all goes according to plan, you'll be able to test out the first batch of changes sometime in February. The HDRP backport's getting a lot of attention from the team right now, with many of the island's static vehicles receiving a refresh along with junk piles and clutter. No new visuals on any of these yet though, sadly. And Rust has an ESRB rating, which of course is a precursor to the console release, although there's still no date yet. But it is inching ever closer, and one of these days it will jump out of a bush and surprise us all, I'm sure. Let me know in the comments what you think of this week's batch of changes. Leave a like if you'd be so good. Join me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group to stay up to date with my content, and I shall catch you all soon. But in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.
All right, cheerio to our friend. God damn it, cheerio to our friend Shadow Friends.
We gotcha,
son of a bitch. So yeah, okay. I don't. I had.
We're having a discussion. We're having a discussion in chat, and we realized I didn't realize that Gary lives in the UK. So he proves that it doesn't matter. Even if you live in the UK, that doesn't mean you have the ability to release games and updates on a regular basis.
Yeah, kind of a lame ass excuse. In the summer, you could get away with it. Once you got into the winter, there was no excuse, and now there was less of an excuse. Now there's no excuse.
Yeah. I mean, any systems will have been put into place by now if you're actually a real company.
Well, and that to me is a huge deciding factor. And there's no excuse from Elite Dangerous. They're not a small company. This is the company, Brian, that had a booth at PAX, which is not a cheap. Yep. First of all, it's not a cheap thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not something that you just do because for the hell of it. I mean,
and they're from the UK. They flew here. Set up the booth, had all their team here.
Yeah.
So
it's just
a company.
Just stop. Just be honest with people. Shit happens. Things get delayed. Things don't go as planned. You ran into a bug. You ran into a hiccup. Just stop with the COVID. Everything is COVID.
Yeah.
How many episodes have we missed because of COVID, Brian?
I don't think any yet.
Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
crazy.
Hey, there is, maybe later this year we'll.
Oh, yeah.
One, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe after next week. Shut off the internet.
Well, maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll have like a bonus where if you're sick for COVID, you'll get some sort of a government reward. Then we'll have to all of a sudden, it'll pay for our packs.
Well, I mean, at this point, they're not going to. Wouldn't that be able to leave our houses? So who knows if there ever will be another? Maybe we can host our own packs. We've wanted to do that, Brian. Maybe we'll host a survival video game show down in Florida.
Oh yeah, that's right. And it'd be a tax write-off. How
much money do we have in our bank account? Like $1,000? Do you think we can host a whole convention with that?
As long as we drive there. Well, you could drive there. For me, it's going to be quite the trip.
Yeah, I mean, we could make some arrangements to let you fly there. I think it'd be good.
All right, hey, let's talk about. So first of all, the game.
Falcon says you guys will have to start doing the podcast from your home instead of your fancy offices. I actually do have a fancy office now. I used to have just a crappy single bedroom apartment.
Well, I've got my green screen and the other one ready, and then I've started clearing everything. You can't see it, but everything forward here I've been clearing out. And so I'm hoping next week. I can't just do it all at once because I have to keep this up to be able to do the recording once I figure out how high the camera's going to be in the other studio.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of keeping everything from here back exactly the same, so I can set up the camera, record the HD background, and then go from there. So
I look forward to it.
See.
I think that'll be a fun little thing. So, all right, yes, that is Rust.
All right, let's talk about Last Oasis here for a little bit. They did put out another patch. They, this is the one that had somewhat of a rough start, but they seem like they're continuing to put out updates and put out new areas, new walkers. And in this, they have one called Giant Walls and Giant Gates for their update. They've been working on the structures and bases. They do have a video, which is pretty short. If you want to show that really quickly, it is a 30+ second video showing some of the giant walls. I don't know that they sometimes have a little music. I don't know if they have talking on this one.
Let's take a look.
Yep.
Is that a monkey?
Yeah. The hair looked kind of crazy, but
yeah, it did very much so. Like it was anti-aliasing or something.
as you can see, they're making giant bases now.
Finally,
that's a pretty big base.
Yeah. All right.
Which seems like a lot better way than how Ark does it. Because if you look at Ark, when you build that big of a base, I mean, that's thousands and thousands of pieces. Why not give them a giant wall, which is probably like, 15 pieces to cut down so that when you're coming into the area, it doesn't lag you out.
Yeah. Now, PH says, aren't you supposed to move? Yes. Now, they've adapted their gameplay a little bit because the whole constantly running system, I don't believe, has been necessarily the best for longevity.
Well, this makes more sense too, because you can pack them up. You can pack your bases up. So that's why I think they want to create giant walls. So when you're ready to move, you go, okay, dunk, 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 get the walls, whatever things you put in there. And it's not, because I mean, imagine on the giant bases on Ark, if you're like, oh, well, you have to move your base and you have to like pick up every single block you've made. That would be, people wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you Alt F4 and never play again.
Yeah. So this one, it looks like they are creating it in a way that will allow you to kind of pack up your base and move on when the zone's starting to close out. But they're trying to create it to where you can create that giant base without having to spend months creating your giant base.
Excellent. I still need to give that one a try. I don't know.
I did play it. I played it a little while, and it is fun. It'll be interesting to see as they kind of build more area, the new zones, and improve it a little bit. It was pretty early when I went in there, but it seems like they are constantly putting in improvements. And I didn't get to the point where I really felt like I was being pushed by anything. I was in one zone, didn't stay in it long enough to really experience the actual objective of the game of being forced to another zone.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about Ark real quick. Just a couple of quick updates with them this past week. 2 of them to be precise. The first one is 321.1, and this was released on the 14th of January. Added Explore Notes 11 through 15 to the Genesis Chronicles. Added Tech Chest version 2 for the Genesis Chronicles, and added additional mesh. Does that say biting? Yes, biting detection. Fixed multiple mesh methods. Fixed a bug where Scorched Earth was rewarding incorrect amounts of elements. Fixed an exploit that allowed players to create names with invisible letters. That's not a good one. Fixed multiple level design related bugs such as holes, floating foliage, and incorrect volumes, etc. Fixed a bug where the taming UI pop-up would not function at reduced resolution scales. Fixed a bug where the tech turret did not respect tribe ranks. I guess that has to do with probably permissions, I would guess, with tribe ranks to arm it or disarm it. Fixed a crash with the taming HUD. Fixed an exploit that allowed beehives to be duped. That's never any good. The Magnum Gar can no longer dash when C4 is attached. The Dino something or other riders are now correctly dismounted when flashing by a plant species Z fruit, which is the it's a base protection thing. It's like a turret, but it's a plant.
Yeah.
Carno visual changes. They've made changes to both the textures and the materials for that, and new single player /host settings for enable level up for flyer movement speed. I don't know if that's above the max level. You could always move flyer movement speed up. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe in single player you couldn't. I don't know what that. Maybe that was a single player thing, because you could always, whenever your flyer dinosaur had a level update, you could always make movement speed. Make that.
No, that's something. Well, that's something they changed, and then we use a mod to make it like the old way.
Oh, so did they get rid of that?
They did a change. They locked it down to where you couldn't level up the speed of your flyers, and everything was locked. So now there's a mod that we run that allows people to upgrade the speed of their flyers.
I did not know that. Okay, I guess
it made things that used to go really fast now go really slow.
But for single player, I guess now they've just added the option so you as an individual could make that decision for yourself. And then
I was going to mention one thing too, where that biting, the mesh biting, that is when you can hit through an object. So people were using this to take down gigas and things, because they would go to a thin wall of a cave and they'd be able to hit the other person or the animal through the wall, but it wouldn't be able to attack back. So you'd be able to kill or knock out a giga really slowly without without being damaged. So they're doing things to try to detect that.
Gotcha. So for 321.8, fixed a visual issue with the Federation Tech chest piece, fixed a bug which prevented non-dedicated servers from being able to host, and then fixed a bug where inventory rank was not updating on the client unless you rendered the structure again or rejoined the server. So a couple of quick fixes there for 321.8, and that was released just a couple days ago on the 17th. That was a client-only update.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Astroneer. And this one, they came out with their 1.18 update. It's there's a number of quality of life improvements here. Things like they redid the UI on the emote selection wheel, so that's not like game changing, but for new players makes things a little bit easier. You can press G on the keyboard or the D-pad to be able to use it. Also, they have the Astropedia quick access, so a number of objects in the game now have the quick access to relevant Astropedia information. So when viewing a tooltip on one of those items, you long press to open the Astropedia, and then it will show information about it. So like all ingredient, holograms, pieces of debris, planets in the shuttle view, those will now show up in that Astropedia. They also updated information for a number of items, a number of pages in there. This is also Astroneer's second anniversary. So they're officially 2 years old in February. And so to celebrate that, players logging in during a particular time frame will receive a unique party hat. So you can watch for that. Also, the nugget updates, visually upgraded resource nuggets with potential for performance improvements. Then they added a number of new emotes. So 4 new emotes, a new hat, a new mask, 3 new palettes, 2 new visors, and then they went through and did a number of bug fixes. So that is current.
Very cool. And I want to show that picture real quick for the emote selection wheel. So this is a very standard. What is this system called? Is it just called a wheel? I mean, every game's got some system similar to this for either picking a weapon or something. I don't know what. There's got to be a proper term for it.
Yeah, I'm trying. I usually know the term. I'm trying to remember
what wheel. I don't know what you'd call it.
No, it's something else.
No, there you go.
Yeah, I usually remember. In game development, you call it something. I don't remember what it is right now. I'll remember it in a minute, and then I'll yell it out.
Okay, we can handle that. Let's talk about ROE. Let's see what's going on with the folks over at Ring of Elysium. This is their Adventure Season 12 update. This came out a couple of days ago. Let's see. It looks like the live service that they already went through that. There was a maintenance period that they went through. They've added some new adventure characters, Brian. One of them is a fox. This is what the base character. Now, obviously, it's not an actual fox, but it's a mask and some wristbands and whatnot that indicate that you are a fox. So they've added that in there, and then they've added a new base character, Dan, who looks like a very westernized. He's a reporter. So he's got his press badge and his that literally says. I think that says Canon. Hold on a second. No, it says Conan.
Is it Conan?
That's pretty much. I was like, damn, they're just straight up ripping off that Canon logo. It says Conan. So we've got him in there. So those are two new base characters that are.
It's a radial menu. Sorry, I don't know why.
There's the
radial menu.
Radial menu.
That's the term.
So they've got those new adventurers in there. The pass, you can now purchase it. It's in the game. It's 950 E points, or equivalent to pretty much $9.99 USD worth of that. They've made an adjustment period, or they had an adjustment period rather, to the normal map. It's when they were doing their community map vote that ended on no, that's incorrect. That goes till February 18th. So according to the vote, the normal map has been adjusted to the current map, the Europa Island, based on the voting that they started a couple of weeks ago. In terms of the gameplay, they added the Viper truck and Viper SUV to the Europa Island. They've made changes to the Friday and Saturday Metal Mayhem modes that were taking place. They optimized the lobby UI's bottom section and redesigned the code redeem button. And then they've added 2 new boxes to the coin store, the Season 12 weapon box supply skins and the Fox Hunter box. And they show some of the new rewards and a couple of other things that they did as well for this. But their new Season 12 update is here, and it's called Disguise, and one of that is the Fox, and then the reporter, who I guess is disguised as somebody who is probably supposed to be doing their job. So.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect disguise. Yeah. So,
all right,
that's ROE.
All right, let's talk about Atlas. They're still putting out updates for this, and it seems like they're maybe bringing in features from Ark into Atlas finally. I mean, why not? They're built off the same thing, but they have a video here showing off some tameable dolphins. I mean, where would they have gotten that idea? Now, the model looks different. Be interested to see if this is something that they'll update in Ark as well, or if they want it to look different. But they have a video here showing some things from their 520.12 patch.
So there you go. I really wish they didn't. I really wish they would have used more dolphin sounds. That's always like wasn't that the swear word sound in SpongeBob was the dolphin sound, I believe.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, I wish they would have used some more of the dolphin sounds. But as you mentioned, yes, this is already in Ark. So
I
cool
mean, it wasn't ridiculous for them to add this here.
No, the fact that this wasn't in here in December of 2018 to me is rather surprising. But you know, what am I
well, hey, they wanted to make a different game. Oh well,
you're right. With no players, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So also they've added in here seed vendors and coffee, so you can.
They've added Alex Jones to the game. Seed vendor.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, and they're putting some variants on the farmhouses, doing some balancing and tweaks. They did do a new structure called the mine. So it gathers metal and gems. They have a quarry on there for gathering stone, crystal, salt, and flint. Then they have the seed vendor, which you talked about. They have a drink called coffee that you can do, which will help with the incoming torpor damage that reduces that. It's a buff that lasts 10 minutes, and you can craft it 1 water and 30 coffee beans. A new vegetable called coffee bean that you can grow. A new seed called coffee seed. Of course, the new tame called the dolphin. Its favorite food is the squid tentacles, so maybe they are doing a little bit of a throwback to SpongeBob here for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then you can have they have a new meat called squid tentacle that you can do. They've done some tweaks to other things like the bola, explosive barrels, things like that. Some of their ships, but that's pretty much that patch. So they're still working on it, adding some new things. I don't know how long until this game is going to be interesting. Not playable, because I think it's playable right now.
Yes.
But at what point is it going to be interesting? They're putting in all these farming mechanics and all this other meta into it, but I still don't think it's to the point where it's really interesting. Like there's got to be a point where this is all in there and there's an economy built and people are really into that. And I just don't know that it's there yet.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think it's going to take a little while.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. All right, let's take a look at Conan Exiles real quick. Nothing crazy from them, just one update. This is a hotfix 2.2.1. They do note on here that if you use mods and have mods installed on your client to back up your current database before updating to a new patch, they're just saying that as a warning. There is a known issue. The dynamic building damage period setting currently is non-functional. They're going to address it in an upcoming patch, so that is still broken. They fixed a stuttering/loading issue that showed up and was present in the last patch, so that's been dealt with. They enabled a server-side setting to allow for resetting attributes that exceeded expected values. They fixed a module-related issue where wildlife AI would become unresponsive when merging combo rules in the dev kit. They restored the stats of several weapons back to their correct values. There's lists a whole bunch of them here. Size, different black ice broadswords, long swords, hooked swords, whole bunch of different things. And then it's no longer possible to build in the Silvermine dungeon. The dynamic building damage setting will no longer reset upon server restart. And then fixed a modding related issue where new custom placeables would not be loaded by the editor. And then finally, character voices should no longer be replaced by animal sounds. Don't know where that was happening, but I would imagine that would have been a funny one to run around. You expect to be talking to an NPC, and it makes an animal noise at you. So that is hotfix for Conan 2.2.1.
Very nice. And yeah, I put another article in there that kind of links to discussion about some changes that are coming that hopefully will fix some of the Xbox One issues that they've been having. So if you tried to play Conan Exiles on an Xbox One and you notice that there are some issues, they are working on some things that hopefully will correct those and make it to where they operate correctly and how you would expect them compared to PC. So just a note on there. If you want more details on it, you can check it out.
Wonder what their audience looks like on console. It can't be that high, can it?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say with the building and everything. It's just more difficult to do it. But, there's a lot of people that don't know better. There's a lot of people on console that don't realize it's a lot easier with a keyboard and mouse to do some of these things.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's some people playing, because there's a guy in the comments that's pissed off that the Islands of Sipta still isn't in there for console players. So obviously somebody's playing it, at least this guy. So GG.
All right. So let's talk about Osiris New Dawn. This is one that died off for a long time. They've started putting out patches, and remember, they're the ones who bought the rights back, publishing rights back for their game. And now they've put out an update. They put out a link that have been updated their roadmap, and they made a new website. So it sounds like they're pretty serious. I think my guess before of them being locked in a contract that they didn't agree with or didn't want to be in anymore was primarily the reason that they stopped development, because they didn't want to continue. Once they're out of that, lowered their value enough to where they could purchase themselves back. It sounds like now they're putting out a lot of fixes.
Yeah.
So on here, this is 0.4.172. That first of all, the original launch used a mech system that was completely driven completely by math. It says while it allowed for nice foot placement, we found that it could not have the right look and feel. Though through the experience builds, we've tried a fully animated system. While that did allow for some further functionality like running and jumping, it didn't quite feel right. Ultimate solution was a combination of math-driven IK. IK is where it makes the foot actually go down to the ground. You know how in animations, if they don't have IK, let's say there's a hill that's sideways.
Mhm.
A player is standing on it. You'll notice the other player is flat here with their other foot is flat, hanging on the edge, is not actually lowering. With IK, it lowers the other foot correctly so that they can stand on the ledge and the kneel bend, and it looks more natural how a human would actually do it. So
Gotcha.
That's the proper way to do it, but it does require a little more CPU usage and things, especially when you have NPCs doing it. So they did that on top of the animated control system, which gives the mech a very detailed feel and allows for full control. So they've added look-at constraints to the guns so that the arms now aim at their targets, something that was asked for in the beta builds. Also, they've gone through, they said this was an easy one, but caught up to us after the engine update. As many of you know, the radar map system has been changed to a 2D system, which allows more functionality and is far more optimal. And we've taken enormous strides to be performant. So it turns out the vehicles still use the old camera layered radar, which in the modern engine sometimes causes the terrain shader to wig out. So they fixed that. They sprinkled some drones and some lost drones and ruins throughout the map. They've done a lot of minor fixes. One thing they've been working on is like stealth gameplay, creatures in the mines. They now respect the walls. So that was a fix they did. And then their roadmap, they've gone through and put what they're working on, what they're going to be putting out in the future. So it looks like they're definitely moving forward. Right now, they're talking about optimizing some systems, optimizing a lot of systems, redoing creatures to use the new AI systems that they've built. Adding additional tools. I mean, this is pretty much a full what you would expect, and then later doing a console port. But hopefully, they get this thing to where players trust them again, everything is working correctly, and then focus on a console port once they feel like the game is actually stable. So we will see. But if you're interested in checking out their progress, things that they might be doing in the future, definitely go check out their roadmap.
Absolutely, and I will note that their console port, they're working on Xbox One and PS4. So, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this game's been out for a while, though. So I did interview these people at, I don't remember if it was Boston or if it was in PAX West, but
okay.
I did sit down and talk to these people at one point. What people don't know is I thought it was another game, and I went in there and I realized, oh, there's another two games that are very similar style and look. And when we started the interview, I realized, oh, this is the other game. So I had to shift really quick my line of questions.
There you go.
It was crazy. All right, so we got one more topic, I think.
Okay.
I don't think we actually. Did we mention there's one thing about Apex Legends really quick? Did we mention that there's some somebody's been doing data mining? It looks like that they're going to be bringing Apex Legends to the Switch.
Oh no! I actually see. I think I posted this in the Discord as well. I came across this. So yeah, you can check that out. Cool stuff.
Yeah. So this here, they're looking at. They found some sort of a notice somewhere, and it puts in there that Switch is supposedly something that they're going to be getting to. So it'll be interesting to see if. How playable it would be on a Switch. Seems like it'd be very difficult to play that fast pace of a shooter game on a Switch.
Fortnite's very popular on the Switch, from what I understand.
Yeah, but Fortnite seems more visually more simplified. Now, one thing they had a release date on there, and it says they've updated it recently here. I think it was today or was it yesterday, to say that the release date now has been removed from the thing, because it had on there a release date, and then they noticed that and removed it. And so they said February 2nd, it will be possible to play on the Switch. So supposedly on the February 2nd, they're going to be doing that, but they've released that or removed that text because I don't think they were supposed to have it in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then finally, The Long Dark had an update, and this one is mostly just a hot fix. Not a major update, but just a lot of little fixes for various things. Nothing that really stood out to me as far as a major change, but a lot of little tweaks and fixes. So if you're playing that this is their 1.93 update, and it patches the Hesitant Prospect survival mode update that they did recently. So I think that's everything. Did we cover everything?
I believe so.
Anything else on the list?
Which is it's been a minute or two before we've covered everything on the show list. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some current players, some video game numbers from people that are currently playing. Let's take a look first of all with Ark, currently playing 48,534. The 24-hour peak is 70,422 with a 7-day peak of 85,355. Get ready for this, Brian. Hold your pants. Rust, 155,819 people currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 199,054, and a brand new 7-day peak, which is also their all-time peak, 245,243. That's the all-time peak for Rust. That was, I believe that was Saturday or Sunday that took place. So congrats to the folks over at Rust. They are knocking it out of the freaking park. Let's take a look at 7 Days to Die. Currently playing 21,898. The 24-hour peak, 25,725, with a 7-day peak of 35,191. Looking at Atlas, you can now ride around on your Dolphins when there are currently 2,599 people doing that. The 24-hour peak, 3,621, with a 7-day peak of 4,698. And that is going to do it for current players, where we bring you all the current players, all the peoples that are currently playing different video games. So yeah, some really cool numbers there. Rust, as always, knocking it out of the park, and they are on they're on a rocket ship there's nothing stopping it. I don't see what's gonna pop up and is gonna be a hard break for Rust. I mean, it just seems like everybody's loving the game and everybody's really enjoying it. So
they'd have to like remaster it and just totally break the thing for people to quit playing it. So
which I don't think they would do. Happen. Yeah, agreed.
Well, I think they'd do Gary's mod first before they redid Rust.
I would think so. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go ahead and go to Tip of the Week, where either I give a general gaming tip, or for a game that I've been playing this week, I figure I'd do it on Sniper Elite 4. So this is Tip of the Week. All right. So while playing online, the things that I'm going to be talking about are for the online version of Sniper Elite. They do have a single player mode. They have a co-op mode that you can do and play through. But this is for the online versions where you're playing against other teams of people. There's some things that you can do to make yourself a much better player. First of all, the thing that you're going to find yourself constantly using are the binoculars. You need to make sure that when you're out playing multiplayer, you are not scoping out people with your scope of the gun, because it does a lens flash on certain game modes. You'll see sort of a reflective thing, and they will see exactly where you are whenever you're trying to aim at them. But when you're using the binoculars, you have the ability to see players. It doesn't trigger that lens flare. Also, it goes through and allows you to tag the enemy. When you tag an enemy, it will show them the outline of that player for a certain period of time, something like 10 seconds or less, and that will allow everyone else that's on your team to see that person. And if they have a good shot on the person, they'll be able to hit them. So, but what you want to do is, as you'll play more and more, and you'll start to figure out kind of where the places are that people hide. They'll hide behind various rocks, usually maybe in certain buildings. What you can do is just drag along where those rocks are, along the edges of them, hitting the tag button, and it'll hopefully tag somebody doing that. So you constantly want to be trying to tag somebody. Also, you'll want to be able to upgrade your weapons. There are a number of things you can do. So pretty much you'll pick your loadout of weapons that you think you're going to use on a regular basis. You then will look at some achievements. They've got 3 different achievements that you can do on that weapon. Perhaps like for the pistol, it says headshots, maybe tagged kills. And then for the one that I was doing, exploding the grenade on their hip. So what you can do to save yourself a lot of headache is get to the point where you're, first of all, on the very first level, there's a guy up on the ledge. I got him to where I just walked up to where he was. he's facing. He's got a grenade on his hip. I would tag him, get my gun roughly aiming where he is, and then save the game. Then you shoot him in the head. If that's the one you're going for, you'll get tag kills from that, and then reload. It goes reloading the game from a save point does not lose that progress, because that progress is attached to that weapon and to your player. So you can keep reloading that, and then once you've gotten the headshots done, then start doing the grenade kills. Once you've done that, all of those kills, since the player's been tagged the whole time, will have knocked that down, because that's something like 50. So doing that will then unlock the ability to improve some of the stats of the gun. It makes it so certain things are a little bit better on it at that point. It also will unlock like a gold skin to where you can have a different look to it, but that doesn't affect performance. So once you've done that, just keep reloading. That will get it to where you get the better versions of the guns that you're using in multiplayer. So you'll be on an even level as far as guns and supplies with other people on the map. Then it comes down to just skill and learning how to play and learning all the tricks, because there is quite a bit of competitive players on there that are really into it. But if you're interested in playing, make sure you hit me up on Xbox. We'll be playing on there, and try it out. I really enjoyed the time playing with a lot of people that are much better at it than I am, but it's been fun. So that's tip of the week.
How do they get you on Xbox? Do they just message you on Discord and ask for it?
Yeah. So if you want to play, message me on Discord, and then I can give you my Xbox ID, and then we can link up on there. So cool. I don't really know that I have it somewhere posted where it's easy to get to, but just message me on Discord. I'll hook you up, and then we'll get you playing a little bit.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate that.
All right. We ready to do this game giveaway?
Yes, absolutely. This is a good one.
All right. You sure? I closed it. You can't enter now. So
damn.
We'll re-roll this one. All right. Oh, it's Judd. Congratulations. Hey. He was our last guy to enter. So he came in at the very end there. It's Judd. Congratulations. You have won a copy of PC Building Simulator. I mean, for those that haven't quite built enough PCs in their lives, this can fulfill that need, where, as Nick was saying, you can run a store building tons of cool PCs, and hopefully you do better than The Verge did. So
yeah, well, I know Judd works in IT, so I'm sure he wants nothing more to do than sit in front of his computer and virtually
he's troubleshooting PC problems for people. He can be building PCs and dealing with virtual problems in the game. Perfect.
Yeah, it's called playing life with a life hack.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything else we need to cover before we head on out of here?
No, sir. I think that's it.
All right. Well, if you want to find me, hopefully in the future, at Brian Aldridge on Parler, but right now at Brian Aldridge on Gab as well. If you want to check out my blog, biteoftech.com, I got my one post on there. Perfect. It says I have 2 Gabs. I don't know where the other one went.
It was probably a reply.
But it must be, yeah. So if you want to find me, biteoftech.com. Also go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. Check it out on the right-hand side where it says join our server on Discord. If you do that, you can go through and submit news topics in the news channel. We have a workout channel. We have a politics channel. And then we have a lot of other channels just for if people are playing games, playing ARC, whatever it is. If you want to join our Steam group, you get a notification before the live show starts. So right before we start that, I send out a notification. If you have Steam open on your computer, it will remind you to jump in and maybe join us for the live chat or for the game giveaway when we're doing the show. You can also catch up our video forms of the podcast on either Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, or DLive. If you want to get our podcast extras, that's the pre and post show that's done by Judd. And then we have our audio only forums. So if you go to the lower right hand side, you can click one of those links. They've got all kinds of different platforms, apps, you can use on a computer, on your phone. And those are all the lower right hand side. Pick the one that's most convenient for you. And then our show notes for 314 episodes now, you can go on there and follow along if you're listening, or use the video player or the audio player on those pages. And it has links to pretty much everything we discussed during the show. If you want to support us, go to either the support tab or go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can go to amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, or you can do a Prime Gaming sub here on Twitch. So
yes, and over the next couple of weeks, we're gonna look into and try to figure out if there's a couple of maybe a new platform or new service that we can use for subscriptions if people want to do that instead of Twitch and Amazon while that fire is kind of festering with a lot of people. So well, we'll have some details on that. I tell you what, the one nice thing, I'll say this, with all the things going on right now, Brian, the one nice thing about this show, not one of the nice things about this show, is we're not relying on it for income. So there's not really a panic.
So the thought of not having Twitch doesn't scare us to death.
No,
whatever. Like, we're not tied to any one thing, and so we'll adapt to however we need to adapt.
Yep, that's how we set it up originally. We learned very well from our friends over at the No Agenda show that you've got to be you can't be beholden. So I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that.
And I don't want us to have to feel like we have to change our messaging or that we can't say our opinions because we're worried that some dear person at Twitch is going to get offended. I'm no interest in that. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a Twitch employee.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm stable. All right.
Yeah. Stable genius. All right. Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate you bringing that up at the end of the show. As always, thank you, my friend. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Somewhere, infectionpodcast.com/live. All right. Well, my name hasn't changed. It's still Nick Craig. You can follow me on, again, I don't want to brag, almost 3,000 followers on Gab, verified as like the 16th user on the site at Nick. You can check me out over there. If you want to check out my political rantings, atnshow.com. Of course, if you missed any portion of this program, show notes, links, images, videos, pictures, all that fun stuff, it's on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.